Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Pedal Shift Project. The Pedal Shift Project is a series of conversations, thoughts, and experiments on bicycle travel adventures. From tips and tricks to ideas on how to ride your ride, let's shrink the world by bike. Show notes and more are available at pedalshift.net/354, and you can email the show at pedalshift@pedalshift.net or text me at 202-930-1109 and check Pedal Shift out on all the socials as well. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 354th edition of the Pedal Shift Project. My name's Tim Mooney. Thanks so much for joining on this edition. Day 2 of the Space Coast Loop starts with another early morning and nearly twice the mileage of the previous day, traveling on the Spring to Spring and East Central regional rail trails, plus all the Spanish moss and all the unique wildlife Central Florida has to offer. But those pesky headwinds coming off the coast I'm trying to reach, will my less than robust pre-ride conditioning do me in? Good morning. Day 2 from Lake Monroe Park. The moon is out and beautiful, just crystal clear. A little bit of a haze elsewhere, but it looks like a very cloudless morning to start, which means high sun exposure day, which means I need to get out of here as quickly as I can. It's about 10 minutes after 7. I was asleep by 7 o'clock last night, I think, and had a really good bits of sleep. The pad that I have is just absolutely fantastic. It's really comfortable, and the only reason why I didn't sleep more is because at a certain point when you go to bed that early, you wake up very early, and there was no way I was going to kind of get myself rousted out and out of here before sunrise. In fact, the trail is technically closed sunset to sunrise anyways, but yeah, I ended up getting up a little bit after 6:30 and just handled a few things, and now I've got to finish packing up. I've got a Dunkin' coffee that is one of those bottled ones that I've added to, instant coffees to. That I've done before, and I really like it as a morning option when you don't have a stove. It is a nice pick-me-up, and it kind of makes the bottled coffee taste somewhat better. Again, I don't usually eat a lot of sugar and certainly don't drink it, and so it's a little weird for me to have that, but at the same time, boy, it's convenient and easy, and when it's this chilly in the morning, it stayed cold enough through the night. I've done it even in the middle of summer too. It's no big deal. I wouldn't recommend holding them for much longer than that if it's not reasonably chilly. But speaking of, it's pretty chilly this morning. I haven't even looked and seen what the temperature is right now. I will do that. It is 44 degrees, which seems about right. That's about as cold as I think my setup can handle comfortably without really layering up. I didn't end up wearing a hat last night. I think I would have if I could do it again. I couldn't find it, and I was like, it's not that bad. And then this morning, it was chilly enough that I had kind of wished that I wasn't wearing anything in the way of layers. I did have my merino wool sweater on and then shorts, so I could have very easily layered up more. This was supposed to be the coldest of all of the 2 nights camping. Tonight will be much less chilly. I think it's going to be at least a solid 8 degrees warmer as a low, so it should be good. The electric was really good. It was nice to have things charged up, and I'm very excited about that. Nice. This is an A+ campsite, especially for free. I mean, campsites in Florida are expensive this time of year, even for tent camping, so it's a really good deal to be able to have free camping here. So big ups to Volusia County, and good way to get all rested up before a reasonably robust day. I think when I'm riding the Brompton, anything over 50 miles is sort of the rough equivalent of a 65 to 70 mile day on a traditional touring bike. I think that it might be a little bit better because A, I'm getting an earlier start, B, it's a pretty flat ride. I think the hills that I experienced yesterday, hills I'll put in quotes, are sort of behind me at this point. The only big thing is just to make sure that I've got plenty of water for for the big stretch. There's a solid 30-mile stretch where there's just no services. Shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, I've done many rides where I've gone more than 30 miles without needing anything. It's just a question of how much water do I want to bring, because water's heavy. All right, I am going to get myself figured out and go. Next stop out of here, I think there is a sort of last chance grocery store about maybe 10-ish miles from here. I think I've got some Fig Newtons or something that will be perfectly fine with my coffee to handle the early caloric needs, and then that'll be a good early break to pick up some stuff for the big, long 30-ish mile gap. We'll call it a gap. All right, let's get going. All right, we are all packed up, and I'm about to hit the trail. The trail continues along the west side of Lake Monroe here and goes up to another area with another campground. I think that one is a paid one, but doesn't have amenities. Shout out to that Australian guy for putting up those videos. If you do, look up on YouTube, and there's this Aussie guy, and he wears this big... You know the old joke about how do you know if someone's vegan? Wait 5 minutes, they'll tell you. Well, this is one of those dudes. His bicycle gear was all vegan, all written all over it. I live with someone who aspires to be vegan, so I'm not making fun of anybody vegan, but it is a funny joke. Anyways, shouts to him for putting that out there, because I would never have found this campground other than because of him. Or I would have found it, realized it, as I was riding through it at the beginning of this day 2, and I would have had a 70-mile day, and I don't think I could have made a 70-mile day. I think a fast forward would have happened there. All right, 50-some-odd miles today, and getting off here about 8:05 a.m. now that I've done a little bit of image taking and talking to you. And it's cool still. It's in the 40s. I'm wearing gloves just to give you a sense of what's going on, and multiple layers that I'll be shedding as the day goes on. I think it's supposed to be a little cooler today. Allegedly, we'll have some cloud cover. I'm not seeing evidence of that yet, but we'll see how it goes. All right, off we go. So this is the Spring to Spring Trail, a stunningly beautiful in parts trail. It will also kind of
turn slide right.
Will also emerge from time to time along the power lines. So this is a kind of a combo trail. This is connecting Lake Monroe to Gemini Springs Park. It was the park I was referring to earlier. This may be the best part of this entire trail. I would be pretty surprised if there were a better one. The trail is perfect asphalt, perfectly smooth, really nice. There is a little bit of, I'm perceiving some small elevation gain. I'm having trouble kind of getting up to speed as quickly as I'd like. So I'm a little slower than I'd like to be, but that's all right. I am also thinking of starting to shed some of my layers here. I'm already getting a little warm, even though it's still probably firmly in the 40s at this point. Lots of resources here. This is wide enough clearly that they use some kind of a vehicle, whether it's an electric golf cart or a motorized truck, but they have huge trash bins and picnic tables all along here. Really great amenities here. And then every once in a while you'll peek out and see a relatively newish looking apartment building that looks out here on the trail in the park. Yeah, a lot of population boom in this area, as I think I note almost every single chapter. Getting away from Gemini Spring and still on the trail here. It is just beautiful. I keep making reference to the Spanish moss. This is a green tunnel that I'm going through right now that is all Spanish moss. Just stunning, just beautiful. Really enjoying this. Really enjoying that. All right, emerging from the green tunnel into a stretch that's along a highway. Well, I shouldn't call it a highway, a road. We are in a fairly well-to-do part of the area. It's interesting, right on the lake, of course, are the big, beautiful homes. Across the street, here to my left, more kind of standard, solidly middle-class homes. But it is interesting to see the difference, and I guess it kind of makes some sense on a rough property, blah, blah, blah.
And it looks like I'll be going by the Welcome Center here. It may or may not be open at this hour. It's only 8:30, so I think I'll be skipping that and continuing along here. I don't feel a lot of pressure, but I do want to make my miles. I have no specific plans other than, of course, I've got the kind of obvious breakfast / early lunch spot at the grocery store that I plan on hitting in the not too terribly distant future here. And that's, as I mentioned, sort of close to last call. There might be a record store. Jeez, you can tell I'm listening to an audiobook right now. But there is probably a gas station that's more of a last call, maybe another 5 or so miles after that. But my plan is to be carrying everything I need by that point. Interestingly, I've had nothing since I left camp. I had that big sugary coffee and a few Fig Newtons, and that seems to be doing the job for the moment. But I don't want to mess around on this. I do plan on hydrating as much as possible today and feeding the beast, feeding the furnace as I go along here. Helpful lesson from a past guest on the show who did the East Coast Greenway. That was watching what she did, just kind of slowly eating through the day, and the miles that she was able to do, absolutely insane. So, all right, I see a big, busy highway up here, so I think I may be getting closer at least to my stop. So we'll peace out for the moment as I go under and touch a very low-hanging bit of Spanish moss. Seems appropriate given the last couple of days of riding here. From a 7-Eleven in, I think, Deltona Landings, or Deltona Landings may be the shopping area around here. I have a lot of stuff. Rarely does one drop $35 at a 7-Eleven, or at least I don't. But I got basically stuff for breakfast, I got stuff for lunch, I got snacks, I got caffeine, I have extra water, I have Gatorade. I'm ready. And it's crazy because it's still chilly out. I'm doing this sort of like an assault in the summer, but just knowing that in the not terribly distant future, there is a whole lot of nothing. It just makes sense to get this all handled now. And enjoying the end of a breakfast burrito here. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm only 7 miles in, but I've got about 44 to go orange. And I think that the timing on this is looking like I'll be probably rolling in around the same time as I did yesterday into camp, the 4-ish range. That's sort of what I'd like, just to kind of get that all settled. That may or may not include a dinner stop, because I think what I might do is, if I'm not a complete mess, do dinner someplace I'd identified, and then go into camp after, and then set up and just go to sleep after that, or hang out, whatever. Hopefully it won't be as lights out at 6 p.m. I mean, I got chased into the tent basically at 6 p.m. last night. Did I mention that? The mosquitoes were coming out. And even though I have bug spray, I was like, I'm all showered. The last thing I want to do is throw a bug spray on top of me. And I'm glad I retreated, because as soon as I sat down, it's like I kind of finished the rest of my dinner and I was just out. But the sun is starting to warm things up. I'm actually standing in it to let my black sweater absorb some of it. It's very interesting. This is definitely the coldest I have been that I can recall on any of these rides. You think you come down to Florida for warmth, and I certainly have. And I'm probably going to be complaining about it later, but right now it's certainly on the chilly side, but well within the range of what I like to ride, and it's actually been a really nice morning so far. Little on the busy side in this area, but it's because I had to deviate to get here. I was originally going to go to the Publix around the corner, but I thought, well, if they've got the stuff here that I need, then I'll just get that. And I'm sure I paid a premium, because a 7-Eleven, a gas station, is going to be more expensive than a grocery store typically, but this was exactly what I needed, and it was right here, and they had great bike parking and just less traffic, less human traffic. Even though I'm double locking my bike, and for whatever reason on this trip, I'm feeling more of a security issue than I have on others. So bike's riding great. I am still feeling like I'm constantly going uphill, but you guys know that's how I feel all the time. Wind is kicking in here and there. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, but I think we're supposed to have some wind again today. I would love to get a tailwind. That'd be kind of neat on a day like today. Today and tomorrow I would like tailwinds, but since I'm going due east today and due west tomorrow, I think one of the days I'm going to be catching headwinds. I don't know which day it'll be. Maybe both, because that's just how it goes. All right, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this burrito, have a little bit more of my sugary soda. I got a full sugar Coke, which I never have, just to kind of get my morning going and get some dumb calories in me. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Carrying obviously some more weight. I do hope I have enough water. I've got another Coke, that's 12 ounces. I've got a full liter of water, and then I've got, let's see, a full Gatorade water mix, which is pretty big. And then, yeah, another quarter liter in my other bottle, which I can fill up. I definitely will plan on topping things off when I have the opportunity, especially as I leave this area. If I do see a water fountain, I'll top off. But again, I'd rather carry more water than not have enough, and I think I should be in good shape. Alrighty, off we go. All right, so we are rolling on the East Central Regional Rail Trail, another beautifully paved trail that gets rural real quick. There was literally a beautiful little farm with, I don't know if they were cows or sheep. They had horns like cows, but they were long-haired. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Continuing the trend of not a lot of people, I've run into just a Spartan amount of people. Now, granted, again, we're not even at 10 a.m. here, and we are on a weekday. This is a Thursday that I'm riding, which, frankly, I'm not going to complain about. I think doing maybe a little pro tip for you as a non-professional bicycle tourist. There's another guy who does that. Let's see. When you are in and about large populated areas that have well-used local or regional trail systems, avoid weekends. That is because people on weekends love to use their beloved local and regional trails. And so you will be dodging and slowing down and all sorts of different things around people, pedestrians, bicyclists, etc. So on a, say, Wednesday or Thursday, like I've been using these, it is much, much more of a wide range. And on the weekend, when I'll be riding, I'll be on a road route. So obviously I'll be dealing with traffic, but I think on weekends, sometimes traffic can be lower. So I may have inadvertently done it the right way. But anyways, for sure on the trail situation, you will find far fewer people on weekdays if your schedule allows. And that is your pro tip for this chapter. About 16 miles in today, about 35 to go. Taking a brief break just to switch out the layers that I've got. I'm wearing what I wore yesterday for the bulk of the ride. There was a point later in the ride where I rolled up my pants a little bit more to go to pseudo shorts, but I think I'd like to keep them down. It's still pretty cool out. The nice thing about this trail is there is a fair amount of tree coverage, so that's good. But I did put on some sunscreen, put on my sun sleeves down to the short sleeve shirt. So I think this will probably be what I end up doing for the rest of the day, I would imagine, unless it really heats up. It feels like I'm going slow, but, that's fine. I'm, again, not in a rush. I don't even average, I would say, 10 miles per hour on this thing. And part of it's the terrain, part of it is probably what shape I'm in, part of it is what I'm hauling. It's just a variety of things. This bike just doesn't go very fast unless you put it into its really, really high gears, which just isn't suitable for a long day. That would burn me out pretty quickly. One thing I'll note is the lactic acid issue that I was having yesterday. Of course, I'm only 15, 16 miles in. I'm not feeling it right now. Also, I was feeling a little bit of knee pain yesterday, and I'm not feeling that at all, which is really great. So I feel like that kind of gotten into the groove a little bit, which is nice. One other thing, for those of you who have listened to me ride this bike on other tours, I've struggled a little bit with the seat post sliding down, which is kind of a common thing for folks who are riding Bromptons. and I haven't been experiencing that. And I thought, oh, wow, I know I cleaned it, but boy, this is really great. I'm not having to adjust it once. I'm realizing that the backpack trick solves that, because the backpack very much serves as a kind of limiting factor for the slide. So that's actually a really good argument for using the backpack for all tours going forward. It's funny, I got away from it thinking, oh, I want to ride a little lighter, but it's not that much more bulk. I mean, it is, but if you're going to be camping, I think the way to go. And it was a inexpensive backpack that really serves a great purpose. It keeps swallowing things that I put into it. I've got the sweater, I'll just throw it in there. It's like when I was tucking the tent in there earlier today, just found little nooks where things could go into, which is of course common for you backpackers. You know all about that. Weather is just fantastic. It's now, as you would imagine, because I changed clothes, it's warmed up a bit. I think I may as well check here what is our temperature situation. It is, let's see, this is fantastic podcasting. No, that's the wrong app. That's the right app. It is 61 degrees, and the high today is going to be 67. So that's great. Right now it's saying it's partly cloudy, and we're going to be going to mostly cloudy apparently around 2 o'clock. So that's even better, I would say, for how things are going to be going later today. All right, I've got some miles to make, so I am going to stop gabbing and keep rolling. I've got probably another 20 miles, I would say roughly, of this really rural trail. One thing I'll also note is that it's rural, not wildernessy. The parallels a road. There are homes all up and down here, so I suppose if there was ever an emergency, you could flag down someone. The other thing I will say is everybody's got a by order of the sheriff, no trespassing signs, which is definitely a thing around here. So yeah, the private property situation is, well, I wouldn't mess with it. Of course, if you flag somebody down, I think it would be different. I think that also would be an indicator about what the stealth camping opportunities are. While I think it's potentially possible in a few spots, a lot of this land is privately owned and people don't mess around with that kind of stuff. So I think you'd want to be very, very careful if you considered something like that, as always. Okay, I am about to go, so I will do that.
In 13 3/4 miles, continue straight.
All right, just about 20-ish miles in, so we're not even quite halfway. I was going to go a little bit longer before I took a more substantial break, but I saw there was a restroom at this trailhead, and so I decided to stop and take advantage of that, and I'm really glad I did. And I was throwing away a wrapper to one of my teeny sandwiches, and lucky me, I'm taking it off the rack here for a moment to talk as we get this wind. Lucky me, I saw there was a pump station. So I was able to use the pump station, and I met a guy. He's like, oh, I got a pump for you. And I was like, oh, thanks, actually, that would be good, because these pump stations, they're really tough to kind of get up to inflation on a wheel that you have to pump up really tight, like this one. And it turned out it didn't fit in my spokes. It was so big, which was pretty crazy. In any event, I was able to get both the tires fully inflated, and boy, is it rolling so much more smoothly now. It really felt like that they were inflated enough, but when you can go from inflated enough to properly inflated, boy, you do notice a difference. And turned out that he was sag-wagging for his group, and the whole group is from the DC area, which is pretty funny and small worldish, as it so often happens on stuff like this. So we chatted for a bit. I did not end up having a full lunch. I do intend to take a little bit of a longer break later, but boy, that was a good rejuvenating stop. Not only to get a little bit of food into me, but also to just be off the saddle for a little bit and then properly get this bike going. Turns out I got about 8 miles left on this trail. I think there's another trail after that, if memory serves. So maybe I'll go another 8 and then take a longer break and see how things go from there. But yeah, feeling good. Feeling good. I mean, knowing that I'm not even halfway is a bit of a hello kind of thing. But, once I'm halfway, it's only 25 miles. And that's probably, 3 hours at the speed I've been going. That's not so bad at all. So, all right, on we go. Enjoying a quick lunch. Or I shouldn't say quick. I'm going to take my time to stretch out a little bit, have some caffeinated beverage. Always a solid choice. I'm almost exactly at the halfway point, and there's another nice trailhead here. So I thought this would be a good place to go. Against probably good judgment, I'm sitting in the sun just to kind of, dry off a little bit. I just a little bit of sweat, so I think that'll be good. Eating my sandwich, half of it. I have plenty of food left. Plenty of food, plenty of water, actually. I think in the end, I didn't drink nearly as much as I anticipated I might. But it was also a lot cooler and a lot less sun than I thought it would be. So I think that all makes sense. The rest of this trail, I think there's a few miles until we switch to another one. And then I'm effectively riding parallel with the coast and parallel with US 1 as well. And that's going to take me all the way to Titusville. And that's where the trail ends. From that point, we are in road routes and maybe some minor trails here and there. That'll take me down to the campsite. So all is good and all is going as planned. No drama for you all on this one. Sorry. All right. We'll check in later. We are about 7 miles from the end of this trail. What a remarkable bit of riding that it's been. I've been really pleased with this. And a little bit of a preview maybe for next year. There is a trail that goes, I think it's called the River to the Sea Trail, which intersect with up ahead here, that goes all the way up to St. Augustine, Florida, which is a cool town and a very fun bikey town. And that trail would be all along the coast. So that's a really interesting thing to sort of consider for a future Florida visit. Maybe as soon as next year, who knows? We'll see. But I do think that the network of trails statewide and how they are very much linked together is something to consider. Certainly something I will consider, whether it's Orlando to St. Augustine or in reverse or just to Titusville. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what I would choose? But there is some great off-road biking down here if you are looking for trails. Particularly if you're trying to do something, if you, like me, live in winter inhospitable areas for cycling like this. It's a great time to come down. All right, pine trees are getting more piney and bigger. The wind is coming very much from the coast, so I'm getting it right in the face. And now I'm starting to see golf courses and houses. So our very rural / wildernessy section of riding is done, and we're about to enter the more urban assault riding for the better part of the rest of today, which will be not terribly long. And it will be, while some will be on roads, it's going to be on quieter roads or in bike lanes. Tomorrow, we'll continue a little bit of it and then end up in a very rural part of the state of Florida again. So much more to come, and looking forward to the last 15 or so miles of this ride. From Titusville, Florida, and specifically on Riverside Drive, right with the St. Johns River to my left shoulder here. This is where the rich people live. I will throw that out there. Good for them. A stunning view of, as a NASA nerd from way back in the day, I can't imagine having a morning view that you could see the operations center quite like this. There are 3, I believe, main buildings where the rockets are staged. So those are the staging buildings, and then you could see very prominently the launch pad right across the river there on Cape Canaveral. It's pretty cool. I have been there as a kid. I was there the very first time we did this. After I rented a car following the tour, I went to Kennedy Space Center and didn't do the tour or anything. I just got my nephew a model rocket from there, thinking that would be cool. He was into rockets at the time, not sure if he is now. But this is stunning, absolutely stunning. I had scoped this part of the route out as I'm now completely off of the trails a while ago, and I was like, yeah, I'll be riding these roads, bike infrastructure or not. They're 25 mile per hour roads, and I'm thinking not a lot of people drive down here, but they should, because it's pretty. It's real pretty. Okay, so bike has been performing excellently. I have to be honest, either
in a quarter mile, turn right,
or something, but I'll tell you what, I feel better now as I'm turning the corner to my 50th mile in a very short period of time than I did yesterday at around mile marker 25 or so. I think all sorts of things are kind of clicking into place, so I do think I'm feeling good about that, and I'm feeling good about tomorrow. Weather was a little better today. It was certainly cooler, and there was a little less sun for me because of the coverage of cloud and trees. So yeah, today was good. Today was real good. Went to the little space park in Titusville where they have memorials for the fallen astronauts and kind of celebration statues for every mission from Mercury through the space shuttles. Pretty cool. But yeah, this was a fun way to sort of end things. I had mentioned, I think in the preview episode, that I was hoping for a rocket launch tomorrow morning or tonight, and sadly that is not to be. I kept looking at the calendar, and there isn't anything until much later in February. Apologies for all these bumps, but I've been so used to really good movement, and I've had it this whole way out here, and now on the roads where actual motor vehicles go, it's trash. So I don't quite understand that, but here we are. All right, I am emerging from that beautiful stretch of road, and I think I'm going to be on US 1 for a stretch here. So I'm going to let you go and handle the more gnarly road riding that I'll have to do. There's great bike lanes. I mean, it's very much made for it, but I'll have to kind of figure that all out.
Turn right onto Riverside Drive, then turn left.
Okay, I will figure this out. All right, more to come. About 3 miles to go until camp. I needed to make a stop off at some place to get some soap, or I ended up getting multi-use body wash, because last night I didn't have any, and so the water rinse off was fine, but I probably stink, so I need to get that. And then I was here and I was like, you know what? I really don't feel like going out for a sit-down dinner. I'm not super hungry, so I just picked up a couple of extra things here at the Walgreens that will get me through, I think, without a problem. I still have a sandwich left. I just have I have enough food left that I should be just fine. It's going to be kind of classic bicycle travel, bike touring kind of vibes, where it's just like, what else? What do I have left? So I think that's what I'm going to do. Feeling great, quite frankly. Highway 1's been just fine. I should say US 1. My shoulder is nice and wide. I have ducked over to the sidewalk from time to time, just because the sidewalk was a superior portion, and then I would go back. Seeing a lot of ibis IBIS is how you spell it. Very unusual birds, for me at least. They're probably like pigeons around here. One is literally about to walk into the Walgreens right now. I should get a video of this. I won't, but maybe it's not an ibis. Maybe it's a stork of some kind. But it is literally standing outside the door, just waiting to come in. Amazing. All right, that's it. I think I'm gonna head on out. From Manatee Hammock Campground Spot 142. It is the end of day 2, and I'm celebrating by eating one of those fancy Talenti gelato layer things. Very excited about it. Campground's pretty crowded. Apparently there is another cyclist here. I'm told the cyclist came from Tampa today, and I thought, wow, that's far. And now I'm thinking that's unreasonably far to have gotten here before me. It is just 3:59 right now. I mean, that's at least a couple hundred miles, I think. So I think that the guy maybe meant that he started in Tampa, unless this person is absolutely superhuman or is using an e-assist bike or something like that. I did not make great time today, but I certainly don't think somebody could get here from Tampa. But I may be wrong. Maybe I'll meet them. So yes, I am not going to go anyplace from here. The campsite is a little despite being in a pretty built-up area, a little isolated from stuff. The closest thing was really a hotel restaurant, which was 2 miles away. The closest thing that looked good, that was like a local thing, which I'm trying to do more of, was a local brew pub thing that was 4 or 5 miles away. And I'm just like, an extra 10-mile round trip just does not appeal to me because I need a shower bad. So I think I'm going to just kind of be in here tonight and that'll be fine. Road noise isn't so bad, probably less than last night, which is crazy considering it's US 1. And tons of creatures all around us. So I'm expecting potential visitors as I start to eat some kind of gnarly looking squirrels and whatnot. A lot of RVs. I expect a lot of activity later. Probably I'll be asleep and everybody else will just be getting started. So quiet hours begin at 10. I'm usually asleep for at least a couple hours by that point, but we shall see. What a great day. I feel like $1 million considering. I think I made some smart choices about the caffeination and sugar. I'm not a big fan of the Coca-Cola, but 2 of them timed properly today. It was really good. I'm a fan of how that worked, so I may do that again tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really excited to do a second night of camping. This will be my final night of camping. And it's kind of a bummer that I can't do more, but tomorrow there just wasn't any camping opportunities that were in the range that I needed to get to. In fact, I'm going to be going a few more miles tomorrow than I am tonight, which I really would prefer not to do, but hey, it's fine. Obviously, if I can feel like this tonight, I will certainly kill it tomorrow. And I've got roofed lodging to get to, so I think that'll be good too. I think the other bummer about that situation, of course, I'll talk more about it next week for you, or next episode for you. I can't remember if there's an intervening best of in the release schedule for these, but in any event, the dining situation is equally bleak because it's on the far edge of town, so I may have to get food and bring it and make it there. So my fancy dining options are not that great, but frankly, that's fine too. I'm hoping to get some good local stuff tomorrow, more so than today, although, again, it's another go a few miles and then a really long serviceless bit tomorrow that I'm thinking about now, which is why I'm talking about it now right now. But today was great. I feel like I really smashed it. I think the bike has been performing really well. I feel like I performed really well. It really takes away the hesitation that I was having about this time last night about things. So that feels really good. By the way, another nice thing about this campground is yet another electric equipped tenting site that is specifically for me. So that's kind of nice. That's been another really nice thing about the 2 camping opportunities that I've had is I bring batteries thinking, I'm not going to have a chance to charge unless I stop someplace. And it's been fine. I've been at 100% each morning, or at least 80%, I think. So that's pretty great. All right. I will recharge everything, and then I will shower, and then I will have a good night's sleep, I think, and we will be ready for Day 3, which I'm really excited for, as we revisit some roads that I really enjoyed and connect it in a way that I haven't done before. So a little bit of new, a little bit of old. But the trails, A+ for the first 2 days of this. Nothing but good things to say about the Coast to Coast Trail, and I'm really looking forward to doing more with the Florida Trail sometime in the future. Statistics. Miles biked, 51.4. Sugary sodas imbibed, 2. Shoutouts to Aussies, 1. Maddie Freedom, thank you so much for the campsite rec. Spanish moss mentions, 3. There's more, trust me. NASA nerdery count, 5, maybe 6. Sum total of manatees and hammocks at Manatee Hammock Campground, 0. Frustration with wind noise on this tour journal, infinity. Sorry, folks. Flats, 0.
And as always, we like to close out the show with a special shout out to the Pedal Shift Society. Because of support from listeners like you, Pedal Shift is a weekly bicycle touring podcast with a global community, expanding into live shows and covering new tours. If you like what you hear, you can support the show for $5, $2, or even $1 a month. And there's one-shot and annual options if you're not into the small monthly thing. Check it all out at pedalshift.net/society. On to the society. Kimberly Wilson, Caleb Jenkinson, Cameron Lean, Andrew McGregor, Michael Hart, Keith Nagel, Brock Didis, Thomas Skadow, Marco Lowe, Terrence Manson, Harry Telgadas, Chris Barron, Mark Van Ram, Brad Hipwell, Mr. T, Nathan Poulton, Stephen Dickerson, Vince LaGreco, Cody Florchinger, Tom Beninati, Greg Braithwaite, Sandy Pizzio, Jeff Muster, Seth Pollock, Joseph Quinn, Drew Porter, Byron Patterson, Joaquin Robber, Ray Jackson, Jeff Fry, Kenny Mikey, Lisa Hart, John Denkler, Steve Hankel, Miguel Quinones, Alejandro Aviles Reyes, Keith Spangler, Greg Towner, Jody Zaranin, Lucas Barwick, Michael Baker, Brian Bechtal, Reinhard Biggle, Greg Middlemiss, Connie Moore, William Gothman, Brian Benton, Joan Churchill, Mike Bender, Rick Weinberg, Billy Crafton, Gary Matushak, Greg Latoile Lopez, James Sloan, Jonathan Dillard, John Funk, Ronald Paroli, Dave Roll, Brian Hafner, Misha LeBlanc, Ari Messenger, David Kropke, Todd Grossbeck, Wally Estrella, Sue Reinert, John Lico, Stephen Granada, Philip Mueller, Robert Lackey, Dominic Carroll, Jackie McCullough, John Hickman, Carl Presseau, David Neves, Patty Louise, Terry Fitzgerald, Peter Steinmetz, Timothy Fitzpatrick, Michael Lazuski, Hank O'Donnell, David Zanoni, David Weil, Matthew Sponsella, Chad Reno, Spartan Dale, Carolyn Ferguson, Peggy Littlefield, Lauren Allensmith, Eric Burns, Thomas Pearl, Darren McKibben, Richard Stewart, Dave Fletcher, Jack Smith, Luke Parkinson, Ryan Patterson, Sarus Faravar, John Gardner, Sam Scruggs, Dwight Pintinger, Connie Bowder, Rob Merrifield, and thanks to all past and anonymous folks for helping make this show happen.
Thank you for joining. You can find Pedal Shift at pedalshift.net for more great bicycle touring content. You can hear the Pedal Shift project through Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Opening music courtesy of Jason Kent off his self-titled album. The track is called America. Check out his band Sunfield's latest release, Mono Mono, wherever cool music is available.